to WGTV, and episode 73. That's right, it's amazing. We just keep going, don't we? It just never ends. I'm your host, Adam, and I'd like to give you a game of Age of Sigmar, 2,000 points from the General's Handbook 2023 through to 2024. Now, I would like to say a huge thank you to all our patrons and sponsors that you'll have seen on the intro on the way in, and of course, a special shout out as well to a new patron. So, thank you very much to an Alan George. Thank you very much for joining us and all our patron gang that we've got with us. So, nice round of applause for Alan. Thank you very much. Now, with me, I'm not even going to be playing tonight. I've got these two fine fellows to fight it out. We've got Ben and we've got Andy. And Ben is going to be bringing the Cities of Sigmar with a sort of like dwarven twist.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that more. Meanwhile, Andy, in the red corner, is going to be playing with the Blades of Khorne.
With a demon twist.
With the demon twist, that's right, yeah. So, but before we have a little look at the finer nuances of their lists, we do, of course, have to find out what scenario they're going to be playing. So, there is only one man that can help us. Some say that even the Spanish Inquisition know he's coming. All we know is he's called the Cleric.
Geomantic pulse. Andor's shifting plains beat with frigid power. Now many seek to seize and harness such an energy source to freeze their foes solid. Claim the pulse for your own, or your own warriors may be next. The pulse. At the start of the second battle round, after determining which player will take the first turn, the player taking the second turn picks either Objective A or Objective B to be the pulse for that battle round. At the start of each subsequent battle round, the objective adjacent to the pulse that has not yet been the pulse becomes the pulse. Only one objective can be the pulse per battle round. Objectives cannot be moved in this battle. You score points as such. Score 1 victory point if you control at least one objective. Score 2 victory points if you control the pulse. Score 1 victory point for either objective adjacent to the pulse that you control. Score 2 victory points if you completed your battle tactic that you picked earlier in the turn.
Okay, so here we've got the Bloodlords Blades of Khorne list, starting off with the General, which is the Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury. He's got the command trait Firebrand, which turns him into a priest, and the prayer he's taken is Bronze Flesh. His artifact is Argath, King of Blades, which turns off wards within 3 inches. Moving then on to the Slaughter Priest, who is in the Skull Altar. His prayer is Blood Sacrifice. And then moving on to the third hero, we've got the Herald of Khorne on Blood Throne. His prayer is Killer Instinct, and he's got the hand-carved Nullstone icon. After the heroes, we then move on to the battle line. We've got 2 lots of 20 Blood Letters. We've got 2 lots of 10 Blood Reavers. And then in front we've got 2 units of 6 Furies. And finally, rounding off the list, we've got 6 Blood Crushers, which comes in at 2,000 points exactly. It's 4 drops.
So, I'm playing Cities of Sigmar Grey Water Fastness, where it's a 5-drop army. So starting off, we have the King, who has the Magic Tome, Arcane Tome. Moving over to 3 Rune Priests. In the order, they have the Rune of Oath and Steel, the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and Curse. And then lastly, moving over to this little fella who looks like a dwarf, but he's actually a Free Guild Marshal and a Relic Envoy, who has the magnificent macroscope. And then we've got 2 units of Longbeards, just bare bones 10 guys. 20 dwarf hammerers even. 2 units of 10 Ironbreakers. Again, some dwarfs that aren't actually dwarfs, they are Wilder Corpse hunters. 2 Ironweld Great Cannons. And lastly, but not least, a unit of 3 gyrocopters with brimstone guns. That is 1970, and I've got the inspired trait. So, cities, turn 1. We went magical dominance. The king with his little butt was over here. Managed to get a good roll off with a primal dice. Tactic done. And then basically, we just walked up onto the objectives, fired some shots off. We killed 1 harpy. Fury. We killed 1 fury over here, took a wound off 1. We killed 3.5 bloodletters over here, and we took 5 wounds off the Bloodthirster with 1 of the cannons. The other cannon apparently decided that he didn't have any gunpowder in and only hit once and then failed to wound, which wasn't ideal, but hey ho.
And the ward save helped out a little bit, didn't it?
And the ward saves, yeah, really helped him out on it a little bit. So at the end of turn 1, score 1, battle tactic for 3.
Khorne, turn 1. So battle tactic for this round was surround and destroy. So we picked 3 units. We picked the Blood Reavers here, we picked the Furies on this flank, and we picked the Furies on that flank. So 3 for surround and destroy. Hero phase, we started with, we got a primal, but not that we'd be using in this turn, but we did get them. 2 primals. And then we went on to prayers, not spells, we went on to prayers. We did blood sacrifice with the slaughter priest onto the Blood Reavers, who lost 2. So we got that off, and we got a blood tie. Second prayer was for Bran's flesh from the Bloodthirster, and that was put onto the unit of blood crushers that are all the way over here at the moment, so they got +1 to their save, which came in really useful later in this round, which we'll find out about. And the third prayer, again put onto the blood crushers, was from the Herald on Blood Throne, and that was Killer Instinct, which allowed them to move 8 inches in the hero phase. So hero phase done, we moved on to movement phase. We moved up the Furies either side just to make sure that we sort of got on the objectives and got this got the surround and destroy, kept these Blood Reavers back. The Bloodletters on this side moved forward. The Unfettered Fury and the Bloodthorn sort of shuffled around a little bit. Not committed just yet.
Coward.
Yeah, we backed out of that. Over the
Coward. He ran away from the dwarfs.
You're doing a 4-up save. Over this side, the Blood Reavers we sort of tried to make sure we at least got one objective. So we kind of came onto this one, got the Blood Reavers, swarmed onto it, got the Furies on. The Bloodletters just sort of came up behind. The Blood Crushers moved into position for a charge. No shooting, we don't do that. So that left us onto charges. So starting here, the Blood Crushers went into...
it was a unit of Longbeards.
There was some Longbeards. Well, we'll come to that. Yeah, there was some Longbeards. Went into the Longbeards there. We didn't do any other charges after that. Over this side, the Bloodletters, they got a 3d6 charge, courtesy of the Bloodthirster, and they went into the unit of dwarves on this side. Ironbreakers. I'll never remember all the names. Ironbreakers on that side. Combat-wise, it kind of went okay and not okay. So the Bloodletters did what they did. With the Bloodlords, they get mortals on 5s and 6s. So even with the 4 at ward, 3 up save, 4 at ward.
It wasn't even the actual wounds that hurt me. It was like 14 mortal wounds.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
or 14, something like that on 36 dice.
Yeah, 36 dice. Yeah, it was a lot. They are good on the charge. So yes, so we cleared that unit out, but they did well, to be fair. They stood up to it, considering how many mortal wounds were getting fired in.
Yeah.
And then we thought, it's just going quite well, and I thought we'll go on to the Blood Crushers, because the Blood Crushers actually on their murderous charge did all right. There was a few more mortals off there, which took a few more of the dwarves off.
Left me on 3, I think, before you fought.
Yeah, before I fought. So I thought I'd leave them to the end, but I didn't bank on the counter charge from one of the city's orders. So the hammerers sort of jumped up over this rock and proceeded to muller them, smash them into pieces. -3 rend. So if it wasn't for the fact that I had bronze flesh and all out defense on, that unit would have gone.
It was still 14 wounds through.
14
just
wounds
absolutely through. Came in and just
yeah, smashed them to pieces. So but luckily we managed to get a few. We did have a few good saves actually, which kept them in the game. When they fought back, they killed the unit they were actually going after. They weren't wanting to get anywhere near the hammerers, to be honest. But they did kill them off. So we've actually got 2 units there, so I've got 3 Blood Tithe now. We did get the battle tactic, and we did get 1 objective, which puts me on to 3 points. And now we're on to an important roll-off for turn 2. Khorne gets a 6. I think it'd be rude not to take the double turn.
So, but which side's it coming in?
So the pulse will start. Oh, this is an uncomfortable one. There's so much more stuff over there of his and mine. It's gonna have to start over there.
Okay, Khorne turn 2. Battle tactic. We went for the new one. We went for Drain Power, which means that we had to have a hero with a Nullstone artifact contesting an objective that Ben controlled at the start of the turn. We had to contest it at the end. So we went for that one. Primal dice, we both got 1 each. So we had 2. And then into hero phase again. So as for last time, we started with the prayers. We went blood sacrifice yet again, got another blood tithe, which was starting to rack up now. We did bronze flesh on him, so he's got +1 to his save, which didn't really come into use this turn, but hopefully it might save him in future turns. And then the blood throne, we went for blood call, so we tried to get some blood letters back, but unfortunately he didn't get that. He got a 1 and a 2, so he failed on that. Hero phase done. We moved into movement phase. We sort of didn't really do a lot here. I didn't really want to commit over it too much into there, just to make sure that we kept on the pulse. These die fairly easily, so I left them where they were. We'll have to sort of imagine what was here, but we did have a unit of blood letters here, and we thought, oh well, we'll get the one adjacent. There's 20 of them. We did all right in the last turn when they charged in, so they did move up towards the hammerers in the movement phase. The blood throne moved up to contest the objectives, which need to do for the battle tactic, and the bloodthirster sort of jumped over, and the reavers up at the back. The mistake I did make though in this turn was I should have done Killer Instinct onto the Bloodthirster, but I didn't for some reason, just to get him, he may not have gone off, but just to potentially get him further over this side to help out the Bloodletters. And I think if he'd have been closer and got his charge off, he could have helped him, but he didn't. So charges, we went in with the Bloodletters, and I think that was the only charge, much to Ben's disappointment. Yeah, that was the only charge we did. The Bloodthirster failed his charge. He needed a 9-inch one, so it did come back to bite me a bit, really, because I think if he'd have got in, he'd have shut off their ward saves. It'd be -1 to hit, so it would have made a big difference. But anyway, we went into combat. Bloodthirsters went in and just didn't do half enough damage. Did nothing like last time. I think we got, what, 4 or 5 mortals? Not even that.
3 mortals, I think it was.
3 mortals on, the 20 of them in there.
And then I think you only got 2, I think you only got about 5 wounds through, and I saved 3 of them, and then...
So I think we only lost 4, did you?
5 in total.
5. And then we absolutely got smashed again by the hammerers from the second turn in a row, and they cleared out a whole unit, gone, just like that. So
hammerers once again.
So we lost them. So not a great turn in that regard. I suppose in terms of points, though. There was a few other combats over here. We got rid of the...
yeah, you got a couple of heroes. There was a rune priest like there and there-ish somewhere.
Yeah, 2 rune priests. We did take them down, so it wasn't all
doom and gloom.
So we did take them both off. So yeah, the Blood Tithe are actually fairly racking up considering we're only at turn 2.
It's been a brutal bloody game so far.
Game, yeah. So points-wise, we got run 8 altogether. So we got the pulse, we got 2. Controlled an objective for 1. We didn't get the 1 adjacent, we did get the battle tactics, which gave us 5, which puts me on to 8 at the end of turn 2. And now over to Ben.
City's turn 2. We decided to go for surround and destroy while I still had enough units on the board to actually do it. So, hero phase. Everyone had run away from the king, so we threw 4 primal dice into a mystic shield and got it off. Rolled a 22. Andy on his first 2 dice rolled a double 1. We just called it there.
We just didn't even bother going any further. Could have rolled anything but double 1, and he would have had a chance to put now.
Tried to throw a couple of prayers out. Nothing really came off. So then we went on to the movement phase. This unit just kind of shuffled up here to make sure they were within 6 of the board edge. This guy trundled back, make sure he's in 6 of that board edge. And this unit just reformed into this little pocket here to make sure they were in 6 of that board edge. So the plan was the hammerers were going to go and kill that Bloodthirster. But at the end of the hero phase, the coward spent a blood tithe point and ran away from me. He buggered off backwards.
Got a lot to spend.
Absolutely bottled it and buggered off back. So I was like, right, do you know what? Play the game. So we shuffled. We made a little 4-inch shuffle. Nothing dramatic. I thought I might be able to get 1 or 2 on this objective here and call it there. move some stuff, move some bits over this way, ready to try and fight this mess. And then we went on to charges. Oh, sorry, no we didn't. Went on to shooting. This unit killed the flying Furies over there. These guys popped off a Blood Crusher. The cannons, so far, this cannon's great, he's done loads. This one has done absolutely nothing. Gunpowder, he's left it at home, not brought it with him. So, went on to charges. The king and this unit here charged in, all nice and bonny, living the dream. And then the hammerers put everything they'd got into the little legs, bless them. 12-inch charge, straight across the board onto the objective, took out the Blood Reavers and finished off the Blood Crushers. Scoring me Pulse, adjacent to the Pulse, Control an Objective, and Battle Tactic for 6, making it 9-8. Going into an exciting turn 3. It's all on the red dice.
It's all on the red dice. I'll take the turn. Go on, turn 3. Turn 3. Battle tactic this time, we went for Intimidate. So we need to have more outside our deployment zone than in, which didn't seem too difficult since we only had 2 in at the start of the turn, so that's what we went for.
Weren't very intimidating, like.
No. Hero phase, we both rolled a Primal, I think, yes.
We did.
We did both roll the Primal. Not that it came into play much. And then we went back to prayers, as always. This time, though, we didn't do blood sacrifice. We went for a cheeky blood boil from the Slaughter Priest, which he got off, and
they got 3 wounds on her.
Onto her, which was a good start. We then went usual bronze flesh onto the Bloodthirster, +1 save, and then the blood throne went and did blood call again into the blood letters to bring 4 back. So that was a good start to the turn. And also, this in the hero phase, we spent 4 blood tithe to do apocalyptic frenzy to attack in the hero phase, which we did with the blood letters here. The plan being hopefully that we could clear off the unit of dwarves there and the ward and the king to then free them up to do a charge. We almost did it. Unfortunately, again, the mortal wounds are just deserting us at the moment, so we cleared the dwarves off, but we only managed we left 1 wound left on.
1 wound on the king,
which was a bit of a shame. But so be it. So movement phase. We kind of lost this flank totally, so we won't go too near them, especially the hammerers. So we moved the Blood Reavers. We basically ran them out just to get onto the to the pulse. At least we can control that. So they moved out. Movement-wise around here, there wasn't much more. The Bloodthirster sort of hopped over this way again, sort of staying out of combat really at the moment. But over here,
coward.
The Blood Throne, I feel like he's going to be coming in late game. The Blood Throne moved up within 3 just to get a charge off, and the Furies sort of shuffled around a little bit. So that was movement done. Shooting was a tiny little bit of shooting, didn't do anything. Ben saved all them. So we went on to charges. So the charges were here. Blood Throne and the Furies went in. The Blood Throne totally whiffed on the guy on top totally whiffed with his blade of blood. Didn't get any hits.
It's like 3 1s and a 2, weren't it?
3 1s and a 2. Looking because it's 2 mortal wounds on the charge, didn't get any. But then blood letters underneath did all right. And then Ashton Moore did okay.
And then it balanced out because what he rolled for his hits, I rolled for my saves.
Yeah. So we took about 4 or 5 off with that. And And then Ben smashed some bloodletters again, and once again...
He just didn't expect the counter charge from the Rune Priest, who flew in, killed 4 of them.
4 of them, yeah.
The King killed 3.
I know, they were dropping like flies. And that's with bringing 4 back as well.
Yeah, and then a couple bolted off from Battle Shock.
Yeah, but we did take the King down though. We did take the last wound.
The King.
The King went. So we got him, but they're still tied in combat, and they've lost an awful lot. Yes, I combat over there. There was no combat on this side. We've kind of left that flank alone, so that was the end of the turn. We then did lose. We rolled a 5 for Battle Shock on the Bloodletters, so we lost another 3. So it wasn't a particularly great turn for them. In terms of point scoring, though, we do get the Pulse. We do get the one adjacent, and we do control 1, and we did do the battle tactic. So that gave us 5, which puts me on to 13 at the end of my turn 3. And over to Ben.
Very sombre dwarf turn 3 with the death of the king in the previous turn. So the dwarfs decided that it was time to get some payback, and we did reprisal. So we did a no magic, because the king was the only guy who had magic. So we went straight into prayers. We did a cheeky little Wrath and Ruin with this lady. She did 4 mortal wounds to the bloodletters, and then we moved the gyrocopters up. We ran the hammerers. We ran the wilder core, and we shuffled things forward here, and then we went into the shooting phase, and every gun fired, but as we can see, no bloodletters. They're all gone, dead, done. So, we called it there.
It wasn't the hammerers either.
It wasn't the hammerers, it was the guns. This one did what it always does, fired perfectly fine. So did this one. His gunpowder supplies finally caught up with him. He knows what he's doing now. So at the end of that, score the pulse. Score 1 adjacent to the pulse, score 1 objective, and score the battle tactic for 6 in total, making it 15-14. Going into a exciting turn 4.
Oh, not again. Won it again. No doubt again, we'll take the turn. Khorne turn 4. Oh dear, the wheels could be coming off now. We were put in a little bit of a predicament really what to do, so we were struggling for battle tactics. None of them were particularly great to do, and all of them really meant throwing the Bloodthirster in. I didn't really want to do, but we did. So in the end we went for the trial skulls. So we had to pick one friendly unit, which was Bloodthirster, and you had to kill 8 or more models. So we went for the usual prayers. We got Blood Boil didn't go off this time. Oh no, it did go off, didn't it? It went into your copters, so we got Blood Boil off again. Got Bronze Flesh, and we got Killer Instinct on the Blood Boil, which moved it this way. We did Brascal Meteor for 3 Blood Tithe, and we did that into the copters as well. We went the copters that were there. And we then moved on to movement. So with the Bloodthirster being the one that had to kill the models, it wasn't really what I wanted to do, but we went towards the hammerers. So we moved up, but unfortunately Ben decided to redeploy and rolled a mighty 6, which
So he stopped 5 away.
Stopped 5 away.
The little dwarf legs that could once again ran backwards 6 inches, making it an 11-inch charge.
So yeah, we needed a big charge on that. Bloodthrone moved up within 3 of the copters, and the Fury sort of jiggled around up that way. And then we went on to charges, and we got an 11.
The little Bloodthirster that could.
The little Bloodthirster that could got an 11. We didn't even need the re-roll, and he went barreling in. Well, yeah, he went in. Bloodthrone also got in. So we'll start where it all went okay. Bloodthrone actually did alright this turn and finished off the copters.
The lone copter that was left,
copter,
yeah.
Got rid of him. And then, so the Bloodthirster has to kill 8 models. Shutting the wards off with the artifact should have been doable. And we rolled okay. We got 6. I think we got 6 through.
6 through.
-2. Ben had an incredible save. In fact, he saved all but 2.
Yep.
We rolled the D3 and we only got 4 damage altogether.
Meaning that the death total for the Bloodthirster was 5 models.
5 models. So yes, didn't go well. So battle tactic failed. Well, it almost wasn't quite over at that point, because at the end of the combat phase, you then roll.
Is it the Land Rebels or whatever it is?
4 up, you could get D3. We rolled a 2, so we didn't even get that. So battle tactic failed, and the Bloodthirster is in a bit of a precarious position now. But in terms of points, again, not amazing. So we didn't get the battle tactic. We did get the pulse, and we got 1 adjacent, and we control 1, which puts me on to 18 points in total at turn 4. But I feel that the momentum switched a bit now after that last turn. So it's over to Ben's turn 4.
So, Dwarf turn 4. Well, City's turn 4, should I say. So, we went for Intimidate the Invaders. Started off, didn't do any primal dice, no magic, that's all gone. This lady here threw out a couple of mortal wounds with a prayer onto this guy. We didn't really do, we did a little bit of move in, so these guys just shuffled up onto this objective to put 4 on here. She shuffled up onto there to put 2 on there, keeping 9 away from these guys. And then we went into the shooting phase. This unit here that was in combat with him, with the Bloodthirster, plinked a couple of wounds off him, whittled him down a little bit. Both cannons and the Marshal put everything they had into this thing, and it survived on 1 wound. And because I needed to kill the Bloodthirster, I couldn't risk charging anyone in and them getting murdered by it before I killed the because I had to kill the Bloodthirster first. Speaking of the Bloodthirster, the Hammerers have been trying to chase him down all game, and they finally pinned him down in combat and killed him. So the Bloodthirster's gone. He's no more. So at the end of that, we managed to score 2 for the pulse, 1 either side of the pulse, 1 objective, and the battle tactic for the full 7 points for the round, making it 22-18. And going into a priority roll.
Oh, gonna have to pick the reroll in there. Oh.
That was a bit harsh making him re-roll that. I think, well, we think we know where it's going to go, but we'll take the turn. 5. So the battle tactic, again, we were struggling for them. We went no cowards among us. So we had to have all our units within 8 of the enemy at the end of the turn, which, as you'll see later on, didn't quite go to plan. Anyway, back to the start. So the hero phase, we got the prayers off again. The slaughter priest did put sacrifice on himself and got another blood tithe. We did killer instinct on the blood throne, and that was it for the prayers. We spent, it might seem a bit odd this, but we had to spend 5 blood tithe on hatred of sorcery, which sounds daft because there's no wizards on the table, but the reasoning for that is for the grand strategy, which is to spend to spend on the blood tithe reward table at the end of each turn, and it has to be a different one, so I had to choose that, especially when the wizard of Ben's died earlier in the game. So we spent the 5 there, and then we went into movement phase. The blood throne came up this way to sort of look at possibly, well, looking at charging into the hammers really, not thinking he'd do much, but he came over this way. Yeah, they came up that way. The Furies just sort of kept onto the pulse to claim that. The slaughter priest jumped out of the garrison to claim that objective, and then I had 3 blood type left. So I summoned some flesh hounds, the reason for that was to grab the objective. So that seemed like a good idea at the time. However, we'll work out when we get to the end why it wasn't such a good plan. Well, the good bit of the turn, the blood throne, went barreling in, charged in, and there are no more hammerers, the bane of my whole game. They've gone. He went in and killed, is it 8 of them?
It was the first time that the thrones actually bothered. Well, I say the throne. It's the first time the guy on the back actually bothered to do his job.
Yeah. So he went barreling in with. Well, he got shot at again.
Yeah.
1 wound left again. So it was on 1 wound as he went in.
And then
he rolled. He got 6 mortals on the charge, and then the guys at the front had another mortal.
And that called it, didn't it?
And that called it. And then also he has a rule where for every model that's slain, he heals a wound. So flying, he went back up to 1 wound taken.
Yeah.
Again. So he did great. It was a good turn for him. The hunters though did hit back and have taken him back up to 6 again. So he's been up and down all game. So it was all looking good. And I was just about to say I've got the pulse on the one adjacent, but then realised that when I summon these in, stupidly, they are outside of 8. So even though I needed them to claim the objective, they do mean that I fail my battle tactic, so that was a silly error. Don't know what I was thinking there. But anyway, so what we do score though is 2 for the pulse, 1 for the one adjacent, which is for 3.
Yep.
Plus 1 for controlling an objective for 4, which puts me on to 20. Going into Ben's last turn of the game.
So, City's turn 5. Not really much done. We had 1 dwarf left here, a lone single Longbeard, and I need to get my grand strat, have more banners. So I rallied, got 2 guys back, which gives me 1 banner.
Should have charged the Furies the last turn. Why did I not do that?
And then basically try and score what I could. I couldn't get a grand strategy, so I picked Maelstrom. Didn't want to risk charging that battle line unit in and getting them killed and then knackering myself up. So these guys very angry at Mr. Bloodthrone, point blank crossbowed it to the face. And finally killed it after 3 turns of it almost surviving on 1 wound and healing back and surviving on 1 wound. This guy and one of the cannons ripped the 4 Furies off the board to score me that one. And then this guy just put a pot shot into some dogs and murdered some dogs. Scoring me control the pulse, control an objective for 3.
Conclusion time, folks. Well, that was a rip-roaring affair. Yeah, it was a damn good game though. At one time I was thinking there was going to be nothing left from turn 2 for you, but then fought it all the way back. We've added the grand strategies on now. Both got them, and we'll hold your thought. Model or models of the match.
It's got to be the Hammerers.
Hammerers. I mean,
they they killed. Probably about 8 times the sodding points back.
Yeah. They were the bane of your life, weren't they?
It was the second turn when I got the priority.
Yeah.
Bloodletters, 40 of them.
Got this, no problem at all.
They're going to take the Hammerers out and then sort of hold that flank, and they were no more at the end of the turn, and they didn't put a lot back either.
And it was a Bloodthirster went in.
Bloodthirster went in, and he was.
And apparently, what you need to throw in is a little guy riding a throne, and he'll just murder all Hammerers. So, note to self. And I'm guessing the model of the match for you.
It was the throne.
Yeah.
But he wasn't starting off that way. No way, because at the start.
No way, I'm not giving it to him. No, he's not having it. No.
At the start of the game, he sort of whiffed. He sort of was on the left flank, didn't really do a lot. A few prayers off.
Yeah.
And then. When he needed it though, and when he came back over this way and he needed to take the Hammerers out, and he did it. And he wasn't just that, the few turns before, he was sort of hanging on for dear life.
Khorne chosen.
Do you know what it is? It was as soon as you moved him off as soon as he crossed that threshold of the left half side of the board to the right, he was just like, oh, I'm home now, I'm on fire.
Home turf, this is it, bang, I've got this. I know where I am now. And just lit it up. Just absolutely lit it up. And almost denied Ben's grand strategy. If it hadn't been for a cheeky rally.
Yeah,
in the
cheeky turn 5 rally.
Cheeky rally to bring a standard back. Oh, I mean, of all the ways, of all the down, dirty, rotten Cities ways to do it.
I know.
Yeah. Loves every minute of it.
It was partly my fault that in my way. The few was they could have charged that unit.
And just got rid of that guy.
I just didn't think that.
There's no way you do that.
No.
You thought he was a better man. He was an honest dwolf. There was no way. He should write himself into his own book of grudges. There's no way you should do something as dirty as that. He's in his own book. He's on his own book. And so one of the cannons, if you pardon the joke, is going to get fired because it doesn't know how to shoot.
No, he had 2 turns of bad rolls, and then, like we say, the gunpowder caught up.
Yeah.
And then he had 3 solid turns of putting out some real damage.
Okay, then. So we'll let him off.
If he'd have had another bad turn, that'd have been more bad than good. So he might have been.
He was on the fence, but he had a positive win ratio of 3-2 over the turns. So we'll let him have that one then. So no. What do we think of the scenario? The pulse. Always enjoy the pulse.
Yeah, the pulse.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario. You've got to, like we were saying earlier on, you've got to kind of commit to spreading out very early, and then kind of bunch back in quite quickly to try and move with the pulse.
Depending on whether or not who gets to choose.
Yeah, as well.
Because obviously that fell to you and it.
No, it fell to Ben.
Sorry, you chose it, didn't you? Yeah, you chose it that way. Do you feel that you put it on the right end?
Yeah, I mean, I had more. There was more of him this end than there was on that end, but there was also more of me this end than there was of me that end.
And most importantly, the Hammerers were that end.
And most importantly, it goes wherever the Hammerers are. Yeah, so they were absolutely fine.
And then they just followed it the rest of the game and just tried to keep up with it, basically.
Until they ran into a blood throne. Oh, sorry, it ran into them.
Yeah,
and just went, no more.
Yeah.
You shall not pass.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that, as it were. But no, that was really interesting, boys. That was really, 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 really good. So, hopefully, you guys out there have liked it. And if you do, by all means, do look back, watch some of the other videos, see what you think. And if not, do tune in again. We are going to be here making these shows, whether you like it or not. But by all means, have a look at the website. Have a look at the tournaments that are going to be coming up. Have a look at the lots of other videos that we've got, all the bits and pieces that are going on. And more than anything else, do like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you. It'd be fantastic. Let us know what armies you want to see on the channel, and we'll put them on for you. So, as we always say, until next time, bye.